What's up? Travel Chronicles, chapter 83, 84. I'm not 100% sure. I wasn't planning on doing this today, and just judging by the time there that pops up, I got to do some cleanup. But they played a basketball game last night, right? Because I talked about this yesterday, and I had said, okay, like I had hedged both ways. Like I'll be honest, all right. But after the first time that I seen Martinsville and Bellaire play, I said if we turned around and played Bellaire again, quick, Bellaire's going to beat us. Like if I was Bellaire, I'd want to play again tomorrow, right? And I think I may have said yesterday if we did our substitutions like we did in St. Clairsville and even against UL, which was a 35-point loss, that we would probably beat Bellaire because we didn't have the subs in the first game. We still won by 7, but I think Bellaire was still figuring things out. Let's be honest. But in that very first one, that first assessment, I said Bellaire will beat us if we did the sub, and they did. We lost the varsity game. We lost reserve too. We're going to lose every reserve game because we just absolutely, one, refused to coach girls, and two, now we're not playing anybody in the reserve games. We're saving them for varsity games. So what happened last night, and this happens to coaches, right? You get gun shy because you don't want to get burned again, right? It's like, well, I seen this happen once, I ain't going to get burned again, right? So the last time we played Bellaire, girl turned her ankle. She's in a boot now. She's probably out for another week, and they didn't have her available for the varsity game. All right. Fast forward a week and a half. The girl who's going to, be off the bench second, she's not going to play the reserve game now. All right. There's only 2 quarters, right? Because Bellaire doesn't have enough girls to play a full reserve game. And I understand, right? I think they have a roster of 13 girls, right? And the one girl at the bottom of the roster is a senior. So you're probably not going to play her a lot of reserve, right? She's not going to play any varsity, probably, unless it's a blowout win, which I don't know if that team's going to blow anybody out. But you have 13 girls. And the way he runs his rotation, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth, it's, subs in and out. It could be 3-4 girls. You could go 11, 12 deep. Well, you're going 11, 12 deep. You've only got a roster of 13. You can't let 5, 6 girls play 4 quarters of JV, and then you're sitting there managing 2 quarters, and that leaves you, 7, maybe 8 girls that you can play anytime in the varsity game when you would play normally 11 girls anytime. So I understand only wanting to play a half of JV to have all the quarters for your varsity girls, especially when you go play, because varsity time means a ton more than reserve time anyway. That being said, our coach decides to hold out, like not just, okay, you still have 4 quarters of varsity available. We're going to run you some in this JV game, but maybe limit your minutes, give them a chance to win. No. So now she's out, and she's a ball handler. So now we have only 2 girls who can handle the ball. And for some reason, they keep taking one of the girls out and keep leaving Faith in to handle the ball. Well, then I got idiots in the crowd yelling, pass it, pass it. Okay, she can pass the ball to somebody else. Then she's got to get it back. Because she's the only ball handler. You got one ball handler on the court. People are dumb. I understand. It's like, okay, pass it. Yeah, okay, pass. All right, now what? Well, then that girl's got to get rid of it, or it's a turnover. So it's her best option to, to throw it ahead, knowing that girl's going to turn it over if she tries to dribble, or now she has to find somebody else to pass it to real quick. But depending on who the girl is, she may hold on to the ball and just get it ripped off of her. I mean, it's a horrible situation to put somebody in the first place. And I don't understand why I kept taking the other girl out. I mean, at least she can put her head down and dribble. Like, some of these other girls can't even do that. Anyway, so back to the varsity. So in the first half, we're subbing in the first half. Now the one girl played really well at St. Clairsville, played decent against UL, right, in her minutes. Like the starters didn't play well. Yeah, anyway, I mean, we're going to get beat. But actually, we were within 10 at the end of the first half, all right, of the UL game. This game, we were tied at halftime, right? In the first half, we're subbing. You know, the two girls come off the bench. I think there's two starters that he won't sub, you know, unless they're in foul trouble, I guess. One's not going to get in foul trouble. She's just not. She's not a fouler. Excuse me. So there's two girls that aren't going to sub. Normally, maybe three. And he's subbing two. Well, no, there's two girls from. The other three are going to sub for each other, and he may sub one of the guards out. You know, and I think he did that, right? And in the third quarter, we come out, and by the end of the third, I think maybe first part of the fourth, we're up 9. Like at one point, we were down 16-11. I think we're down 16-11 at the end of the first period. Half we're tied. Third, we're up 9, right? So we're trending in the good direction. We quit substituting. We quit subbing. Like, whatever has happened so far in this game has, you know, has worked. The rest has worked. But now you've got 8 minutes out of halftime. The previous half played, and we're still pressing. They're pressing, and at some point, you know, with that 8-9 point lead, and I'm not saying you want to set on the ball, just pass it around till you turn it over. But you got to start being a little more diligent, you know, in your offense and being stingier in your defense. And when I say stingier, I mean, you know, shoring up the cracks, because where they're scoring, they're scoring some in the half court because we're playing a 2-3, even though this team ain't packing it in, right? Like, they're not trying to score in the post. They're going to score shooting from the corners, from the wings. That's where they want to score from. But we're defending the post like we're playing against ourselves, you know, and we're not. You know, we should have at worst be playing a 3-2 or something, you know, and have wing defenders and a top guard that's, you know, dedicated to handling the ball. And then if somebody comes to the high post, then the back people have to communicate. But beyond that, like, I come home after the game and I'm watching the game with Elijah, and there's a period in the fourth quarter where we're up 5 or 6 points with about 4 or 5 minutes to go. Right between the 4-minute mark and the 2-minute mark is where we lose this game. It's where we lose the game. And it's not to say that we couldn't have done something at the end to maybe pull out a win. But if you're looking at, okay, everything was going all right, we're ahead. What went wrong? And that 4-minute, we're dead, right? That's a whole quarter. And I don't think he subbed in the third quarter. If he did, it was briefly. And then the fourth quarter, he didn't sub at all. And we did not call a timeout either until there was right around 2 minutes left. I think it was like 2:15, 2:17. We called a timeout. But at the 4-minute mark, or right around the 4-minute mark, we come down. I can't remember if we get fouled or something. Free throws. We maybe go up like 49-44. They come down and score on the other end. I mean, it's like a 2- and 3-point game here the rest of the way. And you're watching this game and you're going, all right, we're dead. Like, the girls aren't getting back. We're giving up easy shots because people are so far out of position where they're dead. And the sequence where we give up the lead was we're pressing, and one of the girl who's the center in this 2-3 zone is playing on the left side, outside the block, right? And the ball gets over to there. They get around this press, around the top part of the press, and the ball comes over there. Well, she comes up to pressure on the wing. Well, the girl who fills the wing on that bottom is also on that side. The girl who's the backside wing has to come over and take the girl in the post, which she does. They pass the ball into the post, and another girl fills on the backside block, which there is nobody at that point. And they just flip it around. Actually, that might have been the end when they scored 2 to go up, 2 at the end. That was at the end when we were in some type of pressing man defense. We got all out of sorts. It was bad. But there's other points in the zone where we were out of position. But the problem is the wings don't guard the bottom of the zone doesn't guard the wing right. And we give up open shot after open shot because there's no communication between the bottom wing and the top guard on who's got the outside when the ball's at the top. And it's so frustrating to watch. Like this loss. So somebody texted the girls and say they didn't play with enough heart, they didn't play with enough passion, blah, 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 blah. No, this was a coaching loss because those girls played hard for 28 minutes. In the last 4 minutes, the coach let them down by not calling timeouts, by not managing the game, by not getting them out of the press and shoring up the half-court defense. That's what went wrong. There was one girl on that team that was shooting lights out. Go to a box. Go to a box of one. You have to have one girl that you can put. And I know which girl I'd pick too. I'd pick Eve and let her run around and play man-to-man defense. These other girls are horrible man-to-man defense. They are trash. They are bad. I will give you that. And I agree with the assessment of the talent. I agree with 1 through 9, or for top 5, and then 6 through 9 or 10, whatever. Like I agree with that assessment 100%. That is 6, that's 7, that's 8, and then probably 9. I agree. You can't run girls the whole time against the press while you're pressing, and then have them die, and then wonder why you lost the game, and then blame it on girls. It ain't the girls' fault. That's the coach. That is the coach's fault. And I knew it was going to happen too. And when I was sitting there watching the game in the first half, I don't think we subbed the first period, or maybe they might have played like 6 straight minutes without a sub, and the other team subbed a little bit, like not as bad as they were like the first game where it was like 3 in, 3 out. It was maybe like one or two. So I think he's tightened up his rotation a little bit. I think he's found out who he wants to play varsity minutes, who's going to get them varsity minutes. He ain't afraid to play a freshman either. But when I'm watching that game, and it's just like, we're not subbing, right? When you get in them tight games, all of a sudden the coach's like, I don't want to take her out. I got to leave that girl. I can't take her out. Like, trust me, there's not much difference in certain matchups between some of these girls coming off the bench. Like last night was not the post player that scored 30 against St. Clairsville. That was not her night. This is not a good matchup for her to score a bunch of points, because that team will swarm the paint, right? She's not going to, it's going to be hard for them to get the ball to her because of the press, right? People running around. So the only time she's scoring is just opportunistically off of the press, right? On rebound, she has to be in the exact right position to get the rebound, because if it's anywhere left, right, in front, she's not getting it, because the other team's just going to run it down. And, so you could go to the bench with her. That's an easy choice to me in that game, right? Against St. Clairsville, maybe not so much because it's such a huge advantage inside. Last night it was not an advantage. You needed I won't say health, but rest. You need rested individuals in the game, and the other girl she's not a bad ball player. Now, as far as the guards go, you've got to sub guards just to keep them fresh. The one girl goes 110%, but then it starts dropping. And it's not that the effort level drops, but the ability level drops. So when a girl's tired, at 100%, she's better. She's in your top 5. At 80%, if you can't hit a shot, She can't make a pass. She's not going to rebound. Okay. And I made the comment last night that in between 4 minutes and 2 minutes, I would have taken anybody off of that bench. Anybody off of that bench and put in for how we played from 4 to 2. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. That's how dead that team was. You can go 8 minutes. You can go 10 minutes. You cannot go 12 minutes. And you definitely can't go 14 straight minutes without a sub. With that team. You just can't. And the talent drop-off is not that much. After about 5-6 minutes, that bench player's even with the other girl. Get her a 2-3 minute rest to get the other girl back in. And that's what it is. It's 5 of one, 2-3 of the other. That's it. You know, and they gotta get better at getting girls breaks and quarters. Right? There's 30 seconds left in a quarter and a dead ball. All right, let's who can we sub in right now to get somebody an extra 30 seconds of rest? You know, just so much of that is just mismanaged, especially on defense. You can play anybody on defense. You know, them girls coming off the bench, they are active defenders at the worst. You know, they're not lazy defenders. So I don't understand. But I don't understand blaming the girls for that loss. But I knew it was going to happen when I was sitting there watching the game and we're not subbing. I was like, man, this is going to come down. Last 4 minutes, we're going to have to lose this game. Last 4 minutes, and that's what happened. Last 4 minutes of the last game. And I don't want to say it because I don't want to be like negative guy, like, oh, that guy's just bringing everybody down. And the reason we lost is because he said something. It's so dumb. Why would you say it? I say it because I've seen it. All right? This is like watching a rerun. This is like exactly like watching the boys team. You know? How many times did I see him hold my son out of reserve games? Because, oh, we're going to hold you out so we can play varsity. We're going to hold you out so we can play varsity. And he never gets into varsity. Never gets into varsity. Never plays a varsity quarter. Why did you hold him out of the reserve game again? Oh, yeah, well, just in case. Like, I understand the varsity game's the important one, right? That's the one you want to win. But at the same time, you got to develop players. You got to let players get court time. If you're going to hold them out of the reserve game, you got to give them varsity minutes. That's it. Maybe it's 2 minutes this quarter, 2 minutes that quarter. You know, it doesn't have to be the whole quarter. And it's not like you're sending them out there to be your leading scorer. They just need time. I've seen this already. I'm going to say something because I don't want to watch 3 more years of this. All right? Guaranteed. The next year is going to be worse because I guess he was telling girls on the bench, well, there's 8th graders coming for your job to the varsity girls. Like, that's what you want to hear when you're in the middle of a 2-point game. Somebody's coming for your job next year. You're going to be here. High school basketball. Gotta love it. Let's go swimming. Be careful. Stay COVID free. Later.